Good morning, folks. It's Saturday morning, and I wanted to talk about a few things that people don't really seem to cover and give you a couple tips. Number one, an injury can come on you suddenly, unexpectedly, and can put you down. And shush, if you're a homesteader, those animals still need to be fed. Those plants still need to be taken care of. Duke, it's a continuous thing. See, I gotta get in here and I gotta weed all this out this weekend. My onions are doing very well. Shush. And here's the tomatoes I planted last week. As you can see, they have grown quite significantly. Now, the tip I want to have for the tomatoes, and I'm going to go and get some of that today, is if you plant catnip in with your tomato plants, it discourages hornworms, which are, anybody who grows tomatoes will tell you that's like a major pest. There's my elderberry. She's growing pretty darn tall. And here we go. We got our watermelon coming in, and our cucumbers coming in, and our squash. It's all coming in pretty good. I believe that my lemon and my key lime tree are dead. That happens, you know. You don't count your harvest till you do the harvest. And the one tomato plant has made it. The other one, I'm not sure if it'll make it or not. Now let's talk about where I had the black cow. Obviously, I've had a significant rain here, so some of the kale is recovering, and I think it's because it washed it down further in the bed, but some of the kale, as you can see, has completely died. You see little peaches everywhere. This is from the wind and the birds coming in here and picking them off because they're not quite ripe yet, and they do that. They continuously try and get the peaches before you can get them. The strawberries are doing good. They're still blooming. They're still producing. My celery, look here, my celery is going to seed. Right? It's putting out flowers. It's going to seed. I like that. My apple tree, I thought that this one had died, but it's come back. I still have an issue here, as you can see, with the leaves curling. So I'll have to look and see what causes that. But here we go. This is going to seed. Right, everything's going to seed right now. And it's early in the season, so these do it early. Peaches on my other tree are coming in. And as you can see, my beans are starting to go crazy. And you can hear the goats. This is all the kale that I took and lettuce I took out of the onion bed, and I do believe that is a rhubarb coming up in the middle. We'll see. My elderberry tree that I transplanted did not make it. I'm going to leave it because it still looks green. I'm going to leave it, see if it comes back. Sometimes it will. Most of the time it won't. But we'll leave it. But people don't talk about the fact that, you know, if you have an injury on the homestead, a lot of times you are miles away from any kind of medical attention or medical help. So some of the things you want to keep on hand. And look at my raspberries. My raspberries are blooming like mad. And they are coming in. Look. And so is my blackberry. It's starting to come in too. But the two squash plants I planted in here are not doing well at all. The corn is coming in. Now you see that one corn is starting to fall over. I'm going to have to come and tie it up to the stake, which is why I put the stakes here. A lot of people were like, why you got stakes in the ground? Well, that's why. It's because you want the corn to grow straight up, not at an angle like that. Okay, so sometimes you got to come in here with just a little piece of string or a little piece of twine and tie it up to a stake to get it to grow straight. So that's coming in good. The one did not make it, but all the rest seem to be doing well. So some of the things you want to have on hand if you're doing a homestead is medical supplies. I highly recommend that if you do not have a first aid kit, and I know it's expensive, but if you do not have a first aid kit, go look at Barry Independent at Refuge Medical. So refugemedical.com. Some of the best, absolutely the best American-made first aid kits on the market. I mean, even the Green Beret and the Special Forces uses it. So I highly recommend that you keep a first aid kit not only at your house. Here's my other tomatoes coming in. They're coming in, right? You keep a first aid kit in your vehicle also. So in your go bag, you should have some kind of first aid kit. Now you can make your own first aid kit, but it's not going to be as comprehensive as the one that you get from Refuge Medical. I highly recommend them. And I know that they are extremely expensive compared to what else is on the market, but we need to support our American-made, local, U.S.-made small businesses, right? So, I know I'm walking around again, and some of you don't like that, but you'll get over it. Let's go over some of the other things that you should have on hand in case of injuries. Like right now, I'm dealing with an injury. A sling, a knee brace, ankle brace, ace bandages, some Bengay, or like what I like to use, which is Blue Stop. It's the same thing as Bengay. It's made out of emu oil. I just find that it's a lot better than the Icy Hot or the Bengay. Some anti-inflammatory like Motrin, things of this nature you should have on hand at the house. Now, one of the nemesis of a homestead is snakes and pests. And there are several videos out that tell you what to plant to mitigate having snakes, especially like around your chicken coop or around like your duck enclosures or your barn or things of this nature. So some of the easy plants. I say easy because you plant them, you leave them alone, and they will grow on their own. Okay. Snake plant. Snake plant, I highly recommend that you keep up with it and trim it because it will grow very profusely. Another thing, garlic. Again, I highly recommend that you keep up with it because it will spread. Basil. These are highly aromatic plants, but they also have a tendency to discourage snakes. And the reason they discourage snakes is snakes don't like to rub up against them because the aroma in them, and also because like with certain types of basil, the bark is so rough that it will literally harm the snake. So they don't like to they don't like to be around those plants. So instead of using some of the snake repellents, which can be deadly to other animals, you can try to go the natural route. There's several videos online about plants that you can plant. Those are the three that I recommend because I keep them around my garden beds. As you notice, I've got garlic going in fairly different places to try and detract from snakes. Now this isn't going to stop a determined snake, and when you plant these, now you're going to have to deal with different pests, which is underground moles. So it's always constantly thinking, what's the easiest way for you? For me, I don't have a lot of time to be out here working in the garden, working in the yard. I don't have a lot of time, okay? So I plant things that are very easy to grow and are easy to take care of. Of course, if you have a chicken coop, that can encourage other pests such as possums, raccoons, rats, mice. And they're all after the same thing that you want to get out of your chickens, which is the chicken eggs, right? So when I built my chicken coop, what I did was I took the hardware cloth down a foot to a foot and a half, and I bent it out. So it comes straight down and then bends out at the very bottom for about 2 or 3 inches. And what that does is that discourages possums from digging under your chicken coop and then getting under the wire and getting into your chicken coop. Now obviously anytime you dig, you want to make sure that you're calling the electric company or your local call before you dig line, especially if you're in a suburban area like I am, to make sure that you're not going to hit any electrical lines, any gas lines, any power lines, anything like that. So you want to be safe about doing things. Now, you can grow things in containers. The good thing about containers is if it gets really, really cold, you can move those plants inside, especially those that you want to have over winter. You can, if they're in a container, you can just easily move the container inside. Now obviously I've got some containers here that I have my potatoes in that are 25 gallons, and when you fill that with soil, that's fairly heavy. So you have to think of that and how big a container you want to have and how big the plant roots are going to be before you ever put it in the container. Okay, some plants do not take well to being transplanted. They just don't. So to dig them out of one container and put them in another one, sometimes that won't work. Some of your smaller citrus do not like to be transplanted. They like to be where they're at. Okay, now, does that mean you can't transplant them? No. It means that you have to take exceptional care if you are transplanting those sensitive citrus trees, such as figs. Fig trees do not like to be moved. Okay, they just don't. Elderberry, as you see, I was very careful, and yet still it died. Okay, and I'm hoping it will come back because I did not split the taproot, but I don't know. Okay, I don't know if that's going to come back. So you have to be careful about doing those things. But my main topic today is, you never know when something's going to happen, and you're going to have an injury all of a sudden jump on you. Yesterday, just to give you an idea, yesterday I went to one of my normal customers. I had a smoke, started to get back in the truck, and saw a huge brown, shaggy, mangy looking dog come running around the side of a house, and it looked like he was headed right for me, and I got in a hurry trying to get back up in the truck and missed the bottom step and ended up tearing something in my shoulder. We're not sure if I dislocated it and popped it back into place, or if I tore the muscle that I tore a couple weeks ago. We don't know. Okay, I'm trying to take this weekend to see if I'm going to have to go to the doctor or not. That's something I don't like to do, obviously. But it is a beautiful Saturday morning. It is a little bit chilly this morning. And when I got home last night, I just did not. It knocked me out, okay? That could be, we had that huge geomagnetic storm come through last night. And that could have been part of it. That, it just drained me. I don't know. But we're still here, we're still here. We're still doing the thing. So this morning I had to come out here and water and feed the chickens. Not something I want to do first thing in the morning, but, like I said, no matter if you have an injury or not, your animals have to be taken care of, okay? They can't take care of themselves. They rely on you. So you have to take care of your animals. I don't care if you're 6 sheets to the wind sick. You still have to take care of your animals. So that's a tip that I have for this week. I just found out about catnip. I'm going to try that this year and see how that works. I'm also going to try a trick that Appalachian Homestead with Patera said. And that was, take some Tums and put them in a 2-liter bottle and stick them in the ground by your tomatoes, and that'll help blossom end rot. I've never had that issue here, but I think that's a good trick, and I think I'm going to do that. So, hopefully that helps some of you. I mean, obviously right now I'm not feeling too good, so my brain is going in 20 different directions because I had a lot of stuff I wanted to get done this weekend, and that's all been put on hold, right? Because I can do a lot of things one-handed, but some of it I need both hands for. And so that's where I'm at this weekend, and hopefully it's just a pulled muscle in my shoulder, but I don't think so. I mean, it's in the socket of the shoulder that it is radiating out, and the whole shoulder is swollen. So I'm thinking I did something bad. But we're going to give it a day or two and then see if I need to get medical attention or not. So in a shift situation, I'd be on my own. Okay, there would be no hospitals open. There would be no medical centers open. You would just be on your own. So that's why I say, you want to have some of those medical items on hand. Obviously, I can't have IVs. I can't have anything like that. Any of the like MRI machines or anything like that. But I can do little things like have a sling on hand, have ACE bandages on hand, have anti-inflammatories on hand. These are simple items that we don't think about until we have a situation happen. Or most people don't think about until they have a situation happen. But if you're in the prepper community, you want to always be thinking what ifs. So, what if I slipped and fell down the steps and wrenched my back out of place? It might not be anything major. It might just be a muscle pulled. Well, what happens if you pull a muscle? What happens if you hurt your knee? What happens if you twist your ankle? You really need to be thinking about these things and preparing for that. I mean, the easiest way is to have ACE bandages, right? But you also need to think about, do I have antibiotics on hand? Now, if you don't have antibiotics on hand, I really highly recommend Jace Medical. They are a medical center, and they will issue you medications, antibiotics that are prescribed to you. So these are not animal antibiotics. These are actual human antibiotics that are prescribed to you. Again, it's going to be expensive. Okay? Even more expensive now with the way the economy is. So, and you're probably going to have 6 to 8 weeks that you're going to have to wait for that to come in. So I would have some kind of antibiotics on hand just in case, even if it's nothing more than A&D ointment for cuts. Okay, if you can't do A&D ointment, you can't afford that. Look into getting some Manuka honey. Manuka honey is expensive, but it's not as expensive as actually buying the antibiotics. But Manuka honey, if you store it in a good location, steady temperature location, will last years. So it will not go bad. Another thing to think about, and our ancestors used it a lot, is castor oil. Castor oil, if you have a small cut or something, castor oil has an antibiotic to it, and it will help heal that cut. So castor oil is good to have on hand for that too. Just a word to the wise, castor oil does sting when you put it on. Some people say it don't. For me, it definitely stings. Look around your yard, get a good app on your phone for identifying plants. A lot of the plants that you have in your yard are edible. A good example of that is dandelions. The entire plant is edible. People don't think about that, That's where dandelion jelly comes from, right? It's from the blossoms. So think outside the box, folks. I hope this helped you a little bit. I am going to try the catnip. I haven't done it before, but I had a problem with hornworms last year, so I'm hoping this might deter those. I don't know. So we're going to see how that goes, and that's all I've got for today. Bicycle.